Hello and welcome to episode 255 of Fergo and the Freak. I'm that bloke from Rugby League Project, Andrew Ferguson. You can find me on Twitter at AndrewRLP. Join me as always is the glorious League Freak. You can find on Twitter at League Freak. How you going there, mate?
I'm going very well, Andrew. How are you?
I'm not too bad, just having some nice, courteous conversation on Twitter. How's yours going?
Mine's really nice and courteous as well. I would say that if I said that it is night time now in Sydney, I would probably get half a dozen people calling me a cunt. So, seems that we get very different reactions from what we post on Twitter.
Yeah. If I said it was daytime in Victoria right now, I'd have people telling me, you know what? There's probably a fair chance that's possible.
Yeah, it's really weird. Let's get into this. Let's do our advert first, because let's
do that. If you've got hairy balls, then you need Manscaped. Freaky, tell me about Manscaped.
Well, Manscaped is the world's #1 leading company when it comes to manscaping technology. And if you go to manscaped.com and you put in our exclusive code at the checkout, which is NRL, you get 20% off and free shipping for everything that they have. Now, the Lawnmower 3.0 is the cutting edge of manscaping technology. There is no better. It is waterproof, ceramic blades. It has a thing that makes sure it doesn't actually nip you at all, which is very important. I use it all the time. I'm very rough with it, also with the Manscaper, and it's just you never have to worry about getting pinched or anything like that. It's got a light. Did I mention it's waterproof, so you can use it in the shower if you want? There is nothing that the Lawnmower 3.0 can't do for your life. So if you want to get yourself in order, especially coming into summer, in Australia, you've got to be ready. You've got to be ready. We're all getting out there, apart from if you're in South Australia, we're all getting out there. We're celebrating life again. Go to manscaped.com. Put in the code NRL. Buy everything. Get the perfect package 3.0 or even the performance package 3.0, which is the creme de la creme.
Yeah, it's got the weed whacker in there.
The weed whacker. That'll clear out your ears and your nose hair in like 10 seconds. It's just that good. So go there, support the people that support your favourite podcast.
There we go. Now, obviously, State of Origin 3 has just ended, which means the footy season in Australia is all done and dusted.
Yeah.
And by some sort of freak show of an occurrence, 2020 provides another misery, and that is Queensland wins the State of Origin series.
Well, look, congratulations to Queensland on
Absolutely.
winning the State of Asterisk series. It was a fine series win. I'm looking forward to Game 4, winner takes all. I think that'll be good. But yeah, it's going to be good. They'll hold the trophy for, 2 or 3 weeks before we play 2021's State of Origin series. It's just a shame.
Do you think if New South Wales wins the winners take all Game 4, that Queensland might refute that and say that we needed Game 5 because there's actually 2 games apiece?
Does it really matter, though? I mean, have we ever really consulted Queensland when it comes to running the game anywhere?
Well, they kind of came up with the Origin concept.
Yeah, but we were the ones...
in conjunction with Victorians.
Yeah, but when they come to us and they said, can we do it? And we greenlit it. That's what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that we run everything and we're the best state, and that's all there is to it. I mean, half of their team, even with the more strict rules to stop them from picking the United States of Queensland teams, half their team's still born outside of Queensland.
That is the way it is, isn't it?
Mm. And the worst player for New South Wales was a Queensland-born player.
Yeah.
I'm just stating facts here.
Just facts.
Yeah, that's all I've done today. Hasn't worked, but still.
Let's be honest. Queensland's probably best player of the entire series, Harry Grant, wouldn't have got his chance if it hadn't been for a New South Wales team giving him an opportunity.
Exactly. Who was the one that coached all of Queensland's best players? A New South Wales person in Craig Bellamy.
And Michael Maguire.
Yeah, it was mostly Craig Bellamy.
Madge was there, near Harry Grant when Harry Grant was doing stuff.
Oh, you didn't see the post-game stuff, did you?
No, I didn't see anything after half-time. What happened in the post-game?
The West Tigers got a mention.
I'm sure they did.
Cameron Munster kind of slammed the West Tigers.
Sure he did. What did he say?
But anyway, we
No,
got
no,
plenty
no.
of time. I know we've got to get
I'm,
to the West
no,
Tigers later on in this
no,
episode.
no. Do,
I know
do it
you've
now.
got
Do it
some
now.
stuff.
Do it now. I'm curious now. Do it
Okay.
now. What did he say?
I said something along the lines, and I'm paraphrasing. He paraphrasing hard. He was like, because Harry Grant was there, and he's like, "Oh, too bad, Tigers," sort of sticking it up them. And I tweeted like, "Oh, it's nice to see the Tigers finally get their last loss of the season." It's probably the best thing that's happened to the Tigers all week, actually.
That's probably actually the first time the Tigers have been mentioned in conjunction with State of Origin for about ever since Robbie Farah last played.
Most likely, hey.
Yeah. So that's something we don't usually get talked about in November, so that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Thanks, Munster. All right. So about the game,
Yeah.
first half was and it was an interesting first half because Queensland had so much good field position
Yeah.
and only 6 points up at half time. And to me, I thought if New South Wales can find a way to find another gear, then there might be a chance here. But I tell you what, for much of the last 10 minutes of that first half, they were gassed.
Yeah, and look, Queensland got a lot of brilliant field position in the second half and a lot of possession once again. And New South Wales were valiant in their defence. Queensland tried their best to break the line a number of times. Eventually, Harry Grant got through with a little scoot and like almost a crawl to, what do you call it, a commando crawl to the line. It looked like he might have dropped it short of the line, but he'd got there. It was a good try. And yeah, look, it was a very hard-fought game. New South Wales losing Tedesco in that first half was really bad. That was a bad knockout to Tedesco. I've never seen him knocked out like that. And you could see as he was going into the tackle, you thought to yourself, it was one of those tackles that you sort of see him slide into a tackle and you're like, oh man, he's going to get hurt. But then he bounces up. Well, this time he didn't bounce up.
No, so what happened is he went into the tackle a bit sideways. And as he does when he goes sideways, he does get very low to the ground.
Yeah.
And as he's fallen in the tackle, his head has accidentally come into contact with Josh Papali's knee, I think it was.
Yeah.
And Jai Arrow hit him low, so he didn't see the knee from Papali hit Tedesco in the head. And then all Arrow's seen is he's looked around. He's seen that Tedesco's lost the ball. So he's gone and picked up Tedesco and sort of give him a bit of a, pull him up a little bit and drop him down again as if to sort of rough him up and say, you piece of shit. And he looks down and he sees that Tedesco ain't moving and he's realised that, oh, fuck, this bloke was hurt before and, I'm a bit of a dick. And he put his hand in the air and say, this guy's not good.
Yeah, and the other thing too in that tackle is because Tedesco was hit hard and Arrow come around the back of him, so he's around the back of him, and Tedesco's arms had gone a little bit stiff around the ball, but he'd lost it obviously. So Arrow's arm was caught under his arm a little bit, and he was sort of dragging his arm up, and because Tedesco's out, he's not moving his arm out the way, so it lifted him up at first, and he sort of was not so much. It wasn't like he was picked him, grabbed him, and ragdolled him. He had his arm under there too a bit. And as you say, as soon as he saw that he'd been knocked out, it was like a switch flicked in his face. It was kind of like you saw his face dropping, like, oh man. And he was the first one that called someone over. And look, the play was still going on, and none of the Queensland players, I think Jake Friend might have been near there too, none of them cared about the play going on. They were worried about Tedesco, which was nice to see in that moment that, the football, they didn't care about that.
Well, I can understand Friend being, because, he's a Roosters teammate of Tedesco.
Yeah.
But I think it showed, Arrow isn't a dead set grub. Even though it looked like it, when you watch the replay closely, you see that Arrow's got no way of knowing that Tedesco's been knocked out.
No.
And because of all of that, he seems to think that Tedesco's trying to hold him down. And then he turns around and looks up and goes, oh, hang on, he's not well.
Yeah.
And he immediately put his hand there. That was his first reaction, was he needs help.
Mm-hmm.
And if he had been a real grub, he would have just stepped over his limp body after he'd done that to him and just carried on and left him there. But he stopped being involved in the play and he put his hand up. He didn't try and chase the play. He lost complete contact with where the ball was.
Yeah.
And I think it shows that there was very remorseful about what had happened and regretting it. But I don't think he did anything that severe, really. And I certainly don't think it did anything to exacerbate what went on. He didn't pick him up that far.
No.
Yeah, he might have lifted him, what? He didn't even lift his whole body up, just, the top half of him may have only lifted about an inch or two off the ground, really. It wasn't much.
Yeah, and look, if Tedesco had been completely fine, like if he hadn't been hurt at all, I don't think it was a grubby act. Even
No, it wasn't.
A lot of people are very angry about it, and I get it. You see a player get hurt, and your concern can turn into anger really quickly, and that's human nature. So I get that. Yeah. But I think that had Tedesco been fine, I think it was just one of those. Like there was an incident a couple of minutes later where Munster got tackled by Nathan Cleary, and he gave an open palm to Nathan Cleary's head, and then about 3 other Queensland players grabbed Nathan Cleary as he's on his back on the ground, and there was nothing come of it. There was no penalty or anything.
That was odd, that one, because Queensland had just got a 6 again call for that because Cleary was just stuck in the ruck and he wasn't getting out of the way. He's clearly trying to slow the play down, as everyone does.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Munster sort of, in his attempt to get up, tried to make it look as if he was trying to push Cleary away, but at the same time hit him in the head.
Yeah, pretty firm one, and
look, and he hit him with a palm.
Yeah, and look, the way I see it, and I'm willing to. If someone thinks I'm wrong, that's fine. But the way I see it, they're playing the hardest game of football that I think I've seen all year in the rugby league, and they're putting their bodies on the line. They're pumped, full of adrenaline. They're playing 1,000 miles an hour. They're tired. Like they were tired from about the 35th minute onwards in that game. And, they're trying to get every single little advantage they can. I don't think that incident with Cleary was a grubby act either. It was just something that happens on a football field. And look, Cleary, and I've said this before, Cleary's been around professional sportsmen and footy players and in dressing sheds with them and stuff since he was a little boy. Like nothing phases him. There's nothing you could do in terms of rugby league that's going to phase him. So he didn't give a shit.
No,
and the referee was like, play on,
Well, the referee gave a penalty to Queensland. And that was the only thing that I had an issue with, because I thought, you've already given him 6 again. Why don't you just say, just get out of the road and play the ball? Yeah. You've got 6 again already. Why give them a penalty and 6 again on top of that? That was the bit I thought was a bit odd. Like, they're being punished twice for that, when it was Munster who instigated the whole fracas that went out over the top.
Yeah.
That's the bit I didn't get. Just thought, why have a penalty? Just get the shit, get back on side and just have 6 again and play on. That's all I needed to do.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been fine.
Yeah, and that's, and I think that you're playing in a game like that, you're going to get banged up. You're going to get everyone. Look, there's 17 players from both teams that if the way they feel physically right now, if most other people felt like that, they would be in bed for a month. And it's a hard sport. It's a really hard sport. And these players, they're all putting themselves on the line and they're playing at the cutting edge of Australian sport. And I just thought, I thought as soon as Jai Arrow saw that, Tedesco had actually been knocked out, that there was nothing more going on in the tackle, you could see it on his face.
Yeah.
The
fact that no one rushed in from New South Wales to start a fight with him because he wasn't trying to start anything. That shows to you that everyone could tell on that football field that he regretted what he did and he was trying to do what he could to help at that time.
Yeah.
He's not a first responder.
No.
He's not a medic. He's not going to be able to provide any sort of assistance to him medically. Okay. You can at least get the medics there on time,
Now let's go to my tweet then. Right?
Let's do that.
So my tweet. And keep in mind, I tweet this and I don't think much about it after. Like I tweet it and I'm like, boom, it's gone, right? And I didn't actually, when I tweeted it, I was purposefully not putting any judgment into it. It was just what I felt like I saw on the field. And, play went on. Play continued. So I wrote, Jai Arrow was the first person to call for help for Tedesco, because he was. He didn't realise he had been knocked out at first. Because that's what I saw.
Yeah.
Because he didn't, and I'm not applying judgment. If you think what he did was grubby, That's fine. You know, I'm not really going to argue too much about it. If you think it was reckless, whatever. I'm not putting any judgment on it. That was just my tweet. People fucking hated me. They hated my guts. I got called a cunt. I got told it was a shit take, a shit opinion. Just so many fucking angry people about what I said. And I'm like, I just said what I saw. I didn't even say what he did was right or wrong.
Man, yeah, people have got this opinion that you're there purely to irritate them.
Well,
I don't know why.
You know, my last tweet, 4020 Live podcast, they put up a tweet about 20 minutes ago saying who is the best player in Super League. Who's been the best player in Super League? And all I tweeted was not a Wigan player.
How many players have been coming after you?
They haven't yet, but they will soon.
They're down the bakery at the moment.
But yeah, I got fucking attacked relentlessly for about an hour for just saying like what I saw on the field. It was really weird. I can't wait to take a break from Twitter. I really need it, Andrew.
Oh, mate, that is so hilarious. Because that's the thing. We've discussed this before. I was a little bit more... mine wasn't that offensive either, but I was a little bit more... I put a bit of opinion in mine, I guess. I said Jai Arrow with a really stupid post-tackle roughing up of Tedesco that he immediately regretted.
Yeah, he did. You could see... it was really weird to see his face, like, because he went from pushing him away and then he kind of looked down mid-push.
Yeah.
And he stopped and, like, you could see his face drop, like, oh, something's gone wrong with this guy. And straight away was waving to the sideline. Play was going on. But everyone that was around Tedesco was, like, just cared about his condition. And we've seen that a lot this year in rugby league, and it's been good to see that players are, they're really concerned when they see their colleagues hurt like that. Same thing happened later on with Cody Walker. Poor Cody Walker. He got turned off, like properly turned off, and they got the stretcher out and the Medicab coming out for him. They put him in a neck brace. Apparently he's all right. He was, well, considering he was in a neck brace, he was shaking hands and stuff after the game.
That's a good outcome then.
Yeah, it's about as good as you can hope for. But yeah, devastating for both players, and hopefully they're both all right. But yeah, man.
My tweet, by the way, got 30 likes. Yours got 30 responses of hatred.
Mine got 28 likes and 21 replies, which I refuse to even look through.
Yeah, don't look at them.
Yeah, I can't. I just can't.
They say that a lot to you. Yeah, I do have a few stats.
Okay.
Because someone did ask, when was the last time Queensland won a State of Origin series without a Broncos player in it? Was that it?
Yeah. It was NRL Simpsons, actually.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I can the last time they won a series without a Brisbane Broncos player in there would have been 1987 when the Broncos didn't even exist. The last time they had an entire series without a Broncos player in it was 1997 because of the Super League War.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah.
Now another stat that I came up with is in all of the State of Origin games played from 1980 till tonight, including that fourth game in 1987 that was played over in Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
Queensland has scored just 1 point more than New South Wales in the first half of those games.
Mm-hmm.
In the second half, Queensland leads 1,052 to 963.
It's crazy. That's, you know what? That's the best State of Origin statistic I've ever heard anybody bring up, because that really shows where Queensland wins the games.
Yeah, everyone knows Queensland will come back at you in the second half.
Yep.
Now, I've got another one for you. I thought I'd test your mind here a little bit.
Okay, let's do this.
Okay. When was the last time a field goal was kicked in State of Origin, and who kicked it?
Last time a field goal was kicked. I'm thinking of all the great field goals in State of Origin history. For some reason, Sean Timmins' one is right up there. But I'm going to say the last field goal that was kicked. Man, this is a difficult one. I'm going to say... Oh, man, this is a tough one.
Well, can you get the year?
I'm going to say it was 2015.
Very good.
Really? And the player...
Yeah.
Man, and I swear I'm not cheating. I've actually got my arms crossed and I'm looking at my roof.
Well, you've got an over projector with Rugby League project on the roof.
Who would the player have been? In my head wants to say it was Thurston, but I feel like it was someone a little bit different. I don't think it would have been Cameron Smith. I'm going to say DCE.
Wrong on all three counts. It was Cooper Cronk.
Ah, damn it.
But that's pretty interesting. We had a lot of people think that most Origin series will have a field goal in it somewhere, but we haven't had one for 5 years now.
Yeah.
And
I'm still
only
getting attacked
one
by the way
since...
on Twitter.
I'm sure you are.
It's all right.
So yeah, that was a pretty interesting little tidbit there. Do you know who kicked the last field goal for New South Wales?
The last one for New South Wales. That's a good one. Jared Hayne?
Jared Hayne.
Did he kick one?
I have to look at this. I know the year of it, but I didn't say who it was. Do you know what year?
The year, I would say...
No, actually, no, it wasn't Jared Hayne.
Okay.
It's a very famous field goal by a New South Welshman.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's not the Sean Timmins one, is it?
No, it's not that one.
Okay, I was going to say. Famous field goal by New South Wales. Oh, man.
He also, the bloke who kicked the field goal also scored a try in that game.
Freddie Fittler?
No, it was Brett Finch.
No way.
Yeah. 2006 was the last time New South Wales kicked a field goal.
2006, wow. I thought it would have been not that far back.
Yeah.
Then again, we did have, from that point on, we kind of had Mitchell Pearce in the halves, which was a duck egg.
He cannot kick field goals to save himself.
Nah.
I remember watching the game between I think he might have been the Roosters versus the Sharks.
Yeah.
Or it might have been the Knights versus Sharks. And he and Chad Townsend it wasn't Chad Townsend. Fuck, I can't remember. It wasn't. Anyway, the Sharks and the Roosters and Mitch Pearce, they were just trading field goal misses for much of the second half, and none of them landed one.
Yeah, I remember that one too.
It's horrible to watch. Might have been Todd Carney. I can't remember. God, it was horrible.
Oh, man.
I remember sitting through the game going, man, this is why Golden Point is no good.
I don't feel like it was Todd Carney, because I feel like it was like... I feel like the Sharks had players that you were like, oh, yeah, that's fair enough. But then you're like Mitchell Fish, you're like, he missed another one?
He just knows how to do it.
He really does. Anyway. By the way, while we're talking about Mitchell Pearce, I saw, people have a dig at me about Nathan Cleary. It's fair enough. Because no one's fucking positive. All I see is people say, post positivity on here. Someone send it my way. Jesus. Anyway. So... so people get into me about Nathan Cleary all the time in State of Origin. I thought he had an all right game. There were a couple of moments where he had a missed kick. There was a knock-on he had. Outside of that, I thought he did not too bad.
Tell you what, that kick that led to Tedesco scoring that first try, was an absolute dog of a kick. That was the sort of kick that does not deserve to be rewarded with a try. He should not get a try assist for that.
Yeah, the poor Corey Allen.
Yeah. It was just, the kick was a bit too high, a bit too deep. Allen got there comfortably. No New South Wales player got to him, but the ball just slipped through his arms and down through his knees and onto the ground. And DCE, who was offside, was hesitant about whether he should touch the ball or not. And that hesitation was just enough to allow Tedesco to get a hand on the ball and score.
Yeah, the old rule, give away penalty before you give away try.
Yeah.
So
I
like
think
the
DC
second
was probably
overall
thinking
in
too, if
rugby
he
league.
touched it, he was probably going to get sin binned.
Oh, you reckon?
Yeah.
I see. I don't think it would have been.
But if that's the thing though, because it would have interfered with a try scoring play, there's a fair chance he could have got sin binned.
Man,
I think that's what he was probably thinking in the back of his mind. If I touch this, I'll get binned.
it's possible. I would have taken the chance. I think, yeah, I think you'd take that chance. I mean, he gave away a try. That's worse than a sin binning,
Yeah.
especially in Origin.
Well, that's right. It's Queensland's won the series that they weren't expected to win.
Very good win. That's
The question now comes: what happens next year with the Queensland Origin side?
well,
How many of these players get picked next year?
that's a good question. Look, they were very good. They were a very good unit.
Yeah, I've got no issue with any of them being there again, other than Jake Friend.
Yeah, Jake Friend, he was terrible. He was terrible in the whole series.
Harry Grant shows him in, essentially 60 minutes just how much Jake Friend does not deserve to be there, sadly.
Yeah. In fact, when you watched Harry Grant out there, you were like, thank God this dude wasn't playing the whole series.
Yeah. And he just looked right at home. Like there was no nerves, no fear. He just rips in.
Just that level. You can see with him, he is that level of player where, I'm sure he would say, like, the game went so quick and all this sort of stuff, but he looked comfortable out there. It looked like his level of play, Yeah. Look, I don't think there's too many different changes you'd make to that Queensland team. I think that Valentine Holmes was a lot better on the wing. I wouldn't have him at fullback, but he was better on the wing. He dropped a couple of sitters, though. I mean, he could have had a couple more tries. I don't think Corey Allen plays at Origin anytime soon. And look, he tried hard. I think he was asked to do something that he probably, in terms of playing Origin, that he probably wasn't ready for. And that's not, attacking him. I just think anybody in his position wouldn't have been ready for that. He was kind of only just starting to get a first grade start. So I'm not going to have a go at him. He did brilliant considering.
Yeah.
I can't say how just impressed I was with Queensland. Like that 1995 team, everyone talks about that team. Man, this one's right there with that win. I'll remember this one alongside that win in 95.
Yeah, I think so too. There's so many just players that you probably wouldn't think would get called up to play for Queensland in this series.
Yeah.
And it's because Queensland had so many players that were injured and so many players in such abysmal form from Brisbane and North Queensland. It just made it hard to go and just pick a swag of players from those areas like you normally always do. So yeah, for them to come out and win the series, very impressive. Very impressive.
Really was. And this New South Wales team, I mean, what's the post-mortem for that, the New South Wales team? Because I think that, there's a few players in the team that I think cemented places going forward, and there's other players who I think probably showed they weren't at this level of play. And then and it happens a lot of the time with New South Wales, which I don't get, is you question some of their selections. I mean, Gutherson in the centres was a mistake.
A bad one.
Yeah, a real bad one.
It's just, and as we highlighted at the start, it's, you take all the jokes and whatnot away. He's not someone who makes many tackles in a game. So you take him and put him in centre, you probably make more tackles in one game at centre than he has to ever try and make in a whole season at fullback. Most fullbacks only make have to attempt like 1 or 2 tackles a game. They're not doing that much defensive work other than being in the right position, and it's all about stopping kicks getting through and that sort of thing. And it kind of showed. He was caught out not sliding when he was supposed to slide a few times, and caught out sliding when he wasn't supposed to, and he didn't quite get the whole gist of it, and didn't work with his winger too well sometimes in defence. And Queensland targeting him. Like Capewell was making a beeline for him in those first two games.
Yeah.
And rightfully so.
And look, in this game, it ended up, and look, it was because of injury, the injury to Tedesco with the head knock, and then, obviously Gutherson went to fullback, and Isaiah Yeo was made to play in centres, and look, he can probably get away with it at NRL level. We can't do it at State of Origin level, and, it was pretty clear it wasn't working, and you kind of hoped that, Brad Fittler was going to make a change there because they were getting carved up down that side of the field, and it didn't come. And, I don't think that you sack Brad Fittler as coach based on that, but it wasn't a good sign, that's for sure.
I think what they needed out there is, that's the sort of situation where it would have been handy to have a Wade Graham around.
Yeah.
Because he has the lateral movement and the agility to be able to cover centre if he needs to, because he plays wide enough when he plays in the back row for the Sharks.
Mm-hmm.
You could have just put him at centre and that would have been fine. He would have just been what he normally does. But he also has that playmaking in that short kicking game that's such a threat out wide that not many other players have got. Would have been handy to have. Pappenhausen on the extended bench.
Yeah, Pappenhausen would have been really handy to have. Really, really handy to have. I also think in terms of Isaiah Yeo, the thing about him is his footwork and ability to break through the line in the middle of the field is fantastic. It's why you have him in your forward pack. And so he was kind of given this thankless task in defence out wide, which he was never going to win.
No.
I said during the game, it was... the Queensland team was salivating every time they got the ball. I went that side of the field. And in attack, he wasn't doing much because it's just not his game to be doing that. So
no, he couldn't get any width. He couldn't run. He couldn't run a little bit wider because he had the sideline on one side, and the rest he's running back into heavy traffic.
Yeah.
So he just had to run straight lines, which is a bit dull, I guess. And your footwork's not going to help you much out there when the attack's not moving forward as well.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. The whole attack was going to suffer because Tedesco's a huge part of that New South Wales attack.
Yeah,
and it doesn't matter how good Gutherson is or isn't, he's not as good as Tedesco when it comes to chiming into the attack like that.
Nah, not even close.
Tedesco plays like a genuine attacking fullback, whereas Gutherson plays more like a sliding 5'8" type player, like Mitch Moses does, I guess. He's more of a ball distributor than a line running, ball playing sort of player. Like Kalen Ponga is another one that's kind of like Tedesco in that way. He'll take on the line and he'll set something up when he gets to the line. Yep. Gutherson more sits back and tries to set up for other players to do all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, Bludger. That's terrible. I tell you, who I was impressed with in the last two games of the series, especially, was Tupou. I thought he really dug deep. Josh Adokar is Josh Adokar, best winger in the world, unbelievable. Didn't put a foot wrong. I thought the New South Wales forwards were a little bit unimpressive. I thought Cody Walker was quiet in the first half, but he was always going to come into his own in the second half. Unfortunately, Cody Walker time rolled around and he got basically knocked out of the game. It's just unfortunate. I thought that Cook played very, very well, actually. I thought that Nathan Cleary played pretty well, especially in that second game. He was absolutely incredible, but even in the last game, he was all right. You can't blame him for the loss. But yeah, there's questions to ask for New South Wales. The overwhelming thing for me from this series is that Wayne Bennett took over a thankless job, like a job where I actually thought when he took over, I was like, man, Wayne Bennett's really keen to lose a series. And I didn't understand it. And he's come in and won a series. And I wouldn't be shocked if in the next, couple of months or even next year, we hear him say that is one of the most satisfying coaching performances he's ever had in his career.
I agree. You've got to be happy to take over a team like that and have that sort of success. That was pretty impressive. And to come back after copping an absolute pasting like they did in game 2.
Yeah.
Very impressive.
Very impressive. you wouldn't have heard Phil Gould after they'd won the game, of course. He was like, "Oh, I could tell that Wayne Bennett was really chilled after that first game, and yeah, he went into the second game. They lost the second game, and he was still pretty calm because he knew they'd go play the third in Queensland." I was like, "Oh, Gus, he tried. He was actually a lot better in this game. He'd reined it back a lot, but he couldn't help himself in the last 5 minutes."
Oh dear, Gus. He must be great on the horses.
I reckon he must be like a multi-millionaire just on horses alone.
The biggest enemy of the TAB.
Imagine if, like, one day you see him driving around in a DeLorean and you're like, this makes sense.
Now we get it.
Who would play Biff Tannen from the NRL? Who'd be Biff Tannen? I'm sure there's someone that we can think would be. You know, Biff, if he was a bit bigger because of his hair, it'd be Des Hasler. Because Biff Tannen had a good head of hair.
1980s Des Hasler.
Even now, Des Hasler's got a fantastic head of hair now.
Do you reckon Des will ever let it grow long like it used to be?
I can't imagine he would.
He needs to. We need more coaches with long hair.
Can you imagine if Des Hasler, he's got the best hair in the NRL, easy. If he let it grow long and he comes back next year, and at the start of the year he's got like a Jai Arrow haircut, where he's just shaved the sides down the back, and he's got like the sweetest mullet that anyone's ever given to anyone. Like, you know how Tom Selleck grew the world's best moustache?
Yes.
Yeah, well, that would be the best mullet in history if Des Hasler did that.
Yeah, it would beat the James Hetfield mullet of 1992.
Oh, you reckon that's the best mullet?
I'll tell you what, that takes some beating.
What about Joe Dirt's mullet?
That's pretty much styled off the James Hetfield one of 92.
Good point, actually.
It's that was a pretty impressive piece of work, that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I reckon Des is the only person who could take that title off Hetfield.
It would be incredible, especially a dude that old with that much hair.
He's once a good-looking rooster, always a good-looking rooster.
Oh, I know it's a curse we've both been given, Andrew. Hey,
that's sure. The amount of people have called me a cock before, mate. It's unbelievable. I know they're talking about me be good and a good-looking rooster and that sort of stuff. So I take those compliments.
I wish that was what they were calling me on Twitter tonight. Fucking hell.
I just say things about you. You didn't realise it.
Far out. Anyway, so 2020, right? This is the end of the rugby league season in this part of the world.
Yep.
It's been pretty interesting. We've had a pandemic. The competition was stopped. They sacked the CEO. Panthers went on the third longest winning streak in the history of the game and lost the grand final. Then New South Wales lost the Origin series. But it's all well and good because NBA season starts in about a month from now, and the Houston Rockets are getting rid of all their good players.
Oh, so they're like the West Tigers.
Imagine. No, they're not as bad as the West Tigers.
Because the West Tigers have just given away Sam. I forgot his surname now because he's left the club. They've given away one young prop who had a pretty good season, and now another one's a bit unhappy because Tigers don't want to offer him a contract upgrade.
Do we want to talk about that?
I mean, it's just the same shit every year, isn't it? It's just different player names. So they're just going to get rid of two young, top quality forwards at a time when they could ill afford to lose any forwards, while at the same time they're chasing fucking wingers.
Well, I saw a tweet you made about Blake Ferguson has been told by the Eels, really good of the Eels, by the way. They've said, look, your contract ends at the end of next year. We're not looking to re-sign you after the end of that contract. So just so you know, in case you want to plan something ahead of time, they're letting him know well ahead of time. It's very nice of them, I thought. And I saw you tweet like, West Tigers, all sorted, wingers, great.
Yeah. Winger, yes, okay, he's met all the criteria. How long before James Hooper joins the dots on that one?
Now, Aloiai. Josh Aloiai. He's basically come out and said that he will never wear the West Tigers colours again. There's talk that he either wanted an upgrade or he wanted to go to the Sea Eagles. And the Tigers' response has been very measured. Oh, wait a minute, it hasn't. It's been the opposite. And they've basically dumped shit on Aloye. One of the chairmen or one of the board members of the club actually said that for all they care, he would be cutting the grass at Leichhardt Oval next year, which is a really nice, way to show what you think of your playing group.
Yeah, it's a great way to resolve a bit of conflict there. Is instead of resolving it, you make matters worse.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Aloy, it seems like his manager has spoken to Manly, and Manly said, "Yeah, we're keen. We'll give you this much."
Mm-hmm.
And Aloy's gone, fuck, that's a lot more than I'm getting at the Tigers. I'll go to the Tigers and ask for a contract upgrade. The Tigers went, no.
Yeah.
And he's gone, oh, fuck this then. And that's pretty much what's happened.
And here's the thing, like the NRL.com is reporting that the negotiations with the Tigers, between Aloye and the Tigers, was for a 2-year contract extension, which in my mind is not something outrageous. And like if I said to you, 2-year extension for Aloye, yes or no?
Yes.
Yeah, you don't have to think about it very long, do you?
No.
It's like he's one of those players that when he's in the team, you're like, oh yeah, this is someone we can maybe build something around. I don't know why you would play with something so small. It's not like he's asking for 5 years or 4 years. 3 years, I say yes.
Yeah, absolutely. He's not old.
No.
And as we all know, they hit their peak at 30. He's still got a few years in him before that happens. Several years.
So, I don't understand why they would. How have they turned this into another fucking mess?
Wow. See, the problem is he hasn't come from another club. He's not over 30. These are problems.
Yeah.
Like they're happy to get, happy to have Russell Packer there on fucking $700,000 or whatever it is a year.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Aloy wants $600K a year. Problem with Aloy is that unlike Packer, who only plays whenever he fucking feels like it,
mm-hmm.
which is once a month, and even when he does roll out once a month, he only puts in about 50% of that performance on the field is actually worthwhile talking about. The other 50% is just the fuck.
Yeah.
Aloy plays pretty much every week and rips in, and that's his problem. He's playing too well.
Yeah, he doesn't feel like a West Tiger, does he?
No. He actually puts in. So we can't have that. Got to get rid of that. We need to get some players in there who have passed their best, who possibly players who are thinking about retiring. That's why they went after that Tim Manor. Remember when they went after him a few years back?
And they couldn't get him, eh?
They couldn't get him, and then he chose to retire.
He chose to retire. I actually watched the end of his career. He chose to play in reserve grade with Parramatta for the rest of the year.
Yeah. They couldn't even coax him away from retirement.
Yeah. What gets me is like, and then you've got someone like Benji Marshall. Benji's like, yeah, I'll play, whatever. Just pay me whatever. I'll play another year. And they're like, no thanks, Benji. We're covered. We've got Josh Reynolds and, Moses Mbai. So see you, Benji. And so they push him out the door. This is a year after Madison leaves. And now Aloye is like, it's turned into a mess. And like, what type of, I don't like to use this term because I think that the media use it a lot, but I feel like it's a fucking toxic club right now.
I wouldn't say it's toxic. It's just a shit show. It's been a non-stop shit show.
Yeah.
Look, they merged. It was a shit show from the merger.
Yeah.
Because, West were just a complete basket case.
Mm-hmm.
Balmain were heading in that direction. They had a few more years in them anyway.
Yeah.
And then a whole heap of Balmain players pretty much made up the bulk of the team. And then they had all that money handed to them for merging. And they splashed it all on a bunch of and Jared McCracken.
Yeah.
And McCracken got injured. Very unfortunate that. And then just died in the arse. died in the arse, got worse. A few juniors came through, thanks to Tim Sheens.
Yeah.
They won a premiership.
Yeah.
Died in the arse, absolute shit show. Made the finals 2 years in a row, back to being a shit show, and it's just been there ever since.
Now, we've got an email about the Tigers.
Oh, yippee.
Okay, so it says...
Is it from Potato by any chance?
No.
Oh.
It's from someone called Tigers Man.
Okay.
So he says, hello, fellas. I've been listening to your podcast since the very start, and I've loved every episode. That's awesome to hear. Thank you for that. Your chats give me a good laugh, and I thank you for doing what you do. As a Tigers diehard, I was too young to appreciate our 4, and he does successful, in air quotes, years.
Did he say 4?
Yeah, he said our 4 successful years, and I did think that another premiership was coming in the near future. My question is, where did we go wrong? Was it the Benji, Robbie, Mick Potter drama where it began, and why we are still a joke? If we have to fail for another 8 years to become successful and be on the right path like the Panthers are right now, so my future kids can watch the Tigers be a dominant club, I would be okay with that. But it doesn't look like we are moving forward in any way. Where do we start?
Okay, so 2005 was a culmination of pretty much all the stars aligning for the West Tigers. They brought in a couple of really good young kids all at the same time. Most of them were rep quality players from the get-go. Typically Benji and Robbie were absolute standouts from the start, obviously. But the rules of the game were actually really tailored to the way the Tigers play, which was light mobile forwards. And there was very much a running game then. And so they capitalised on that. 2006 came along, and that's when we saw really firsthand the wrestle start to come into the game, and it slowed the ruck down so much that the Tigers' small forwards just got out-muscled every week.
Mm-hmm.
So what they did to try and counter that was fling the ball wide, give it to Benji, and let him create something. And that's pretty much the game plan from then until when Benji left.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even being facetious there. That's pretty much it. Even when they changed coaches, that was pretty much still the same thing. The drama with Mick Potter and stuff like that, no. Potter came in and he was actually doing some reasonably good stuff. He had to try and change the team around a bit of the culture and stuff because it became a bit of a boys' club under Tim Sheens. And Sheens had long overstayed his welcome. But Gordon Tallis came along to try and, in quotes, protect his mate by throwing him under the bus and costing him his job. Thanks, Gordon, dickhead. But at the same time, it completely derailed the Tigers. They then went and made a rash decision to sign an absolute moron instead of overlooking some actual credible coaching options. Jason Taylor came along with a focus on improving the Tigers' defence, which he almost did. He did before completely fucking it up and making it worse than it had ever been. So he then got arseholed. And a lot of Jason Taylor's tenure was all about trying to get Robbie Farah out of the club because the club didn't want to honour their contract to him, which was one where they would pay Robbie Farah back for salary that Farah had waived in previous seasons to try and keep the club under the cap, to keep other players there.
Yeah.
And look, Farah's not the only person who have ever done this. There's a lot of players who have done this, of the elite kind. I mean, I know Paul Gallen did it as well at the Sharks. There's pretty much every club's had players that have done this. And they get told, you get a back-ended contract and you get your money at the end of your career. Don't worry about it. And that's pretty much what happens.
Yeah.
But the club made that decision, and then they didn't want to be paying Farah $900K a year at the end. So they tried to offload him and completely dog him of that money he was owed anyway that they agreed to pay him. And Farah rightfully said, no, I've got a contract. I'm going to honour it. So they couldn't get rid of him. He eventually went to South for a year and a half before being asked if he'd like to come back, and he said yes, of course. He came back. Wasn't being paid much either.
Oh, by the way, when he went South, West still paid a massive chunk of his salary.
Yep, about 65-70% of it. So South were pretty much paying Farah market value. But when Farah came back, all of those that old contract had been paid out. So Farah was on very little coin by the time he came back, and he agreed to that. He was fine with it.
Yeah.
As was Benji. But no, the problem has for a long time not really been so much the cattle, but the people running it.
Yeah.
So the person they had there doing a lot of the recruitment and retention was he went to, got to get this right. He went to Manly first at the time when they went and busted the salary cap and had to ditch a whole heap of players. He then went from there to the Bulldogs, and he was at the Bulldogs when their roster got completely butchered.
Yep.
And after he'd done those two hatchet jobs, the Tigers decided to bring him back. And you reap what you sow. Look what's going on now. I don't know why they persevere with people like that. It's clear he's no good at it. But they keep bringing him back, so who knows. They finally got themselves a genuinely good coach, their first genuine good coach since Sheens. And he's going to need 3 years just to get through all of the stupid purchases that have been made by the club by Taylor and Ivan Cleary, because they put them all on these 4-year deals. Got me beat wide. And those deals don't end until the end of next season. So there's not much that Maguire can do until pretty much the middle way through next year, when he's able to start negotiating players' contracts that he's currently got there, and he's going to start releasing players. And he's going to have a ton of money to play with at the next year.
Yeah.
So don't expect the Tigers to be doing much in the market this year, but next year he's probably going to have $2 to $3 million available to him. Yeah, you'll see that Maguire will start to build the roster that he kind of wants, I guess.
Yeah. Look, the thing that gets me about the West Tigers, and it's a real institutional thing, is how much drama there is off the field with them, and not even so much with the playing group, just like, rumours that get put out, and it's like at some point it's like it's got to come from management. Things about like they want rid of this player, they don't want to give this player this much money, and then you look at who their recruitment is the worst in the competition, bar none. Like even the Bulldogs look at the West Tigers recruitment and say, "Geez, let's never get that bad." It is terrible, to the point where you can make the joke about, so and so just got released in November, he'll be a West Tiger in a month's time, and it's that bad. It's that bad. And like, if Aloye leaves, that's two pretty handy forwards that they've lost back-to-back seasons in real acrimonious circumstances. And it shouldn't be like that over and over and over again.
No, and half the problem too is they carry the same burden that Cronulla does, and that is one of their most vocal fans happens to be one of the higher-ranking people within News Limited. So the Sharks have got Buzz Rothfield as a fan. Tigers have got James Hooper.
Yeah.
And so you will hear the Tigers in the news a lot when it comes to player signings and, disharmony and shit like that, because Hooper, just like Buzz, doesn't have much journalistic integrity or skill. So when they can't come up with a story and they need to get one, they'll just go and ring their mates at their club and say, "Have you got any news for me?" And then they'll write down whatever shit they get fed. And that's what happens. And so that's why every week you'll get a story from those two clubs, because those two lazy bastards work there, and that's the only way they know how to get stories. That's my opinion.
The thing that summed up the West Tigers off-field issues for me, and it was an incident, and I can't even remember. It might have been with Robbie Farah and Mick Potter. I think it was those two. And it was when it was Farah, it was up to Farah to be out there in the press conference. Yeah. And like, that was not his role. That was the role of the CEO or
that
the
was when
chairman.
That was when we had Grant Meyer as the chair. And the stupid thing about all of that is, like, both Potter and Farah had come out during that season several times. And it was just like several times in consecutive weeks saying that's all water under the bridge. We've all moved on from that now. We're all perfectly fine. They talk about how they get on well with one another. They live in the same apartment complex. They play tennis with one another. They all got on fine.
Mm.
The media would not buy it because it doesn't sell stories.
Mm-hmm.
So they kept hammering home. There's some sort of tension. There's some sort of rift. Blah 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 blah. Farrell wants this coach gone, and Farrell's trying to sack another coach, and he's never had one sacked. But they didn't mind smearing Farrell's reputation over that crap. So when Farrell had the temerity, for lack of a better word, to go and do what the actual fucking leader of the club should have done, and face the press about all that shit, it showed how much of a leader Farrell was and how much he respected and loved the club more than that pea-hearted Grant Meyer did. And obviously, Meyer fucking left and went to do some marketing shit at Manly or something like that after that. He came from the Bulldogs as well.
I have a feeling he also, I think he worked at AFL for a minute as well.
The thing that shit me about Meyer too is that throughout all of that, he said nothing. He could have come out and said, you know what, we're going to issue a statement and say, right, this has all been resolved. We've figured all this out. Everything's fine now. Let's all move on. He went, nah, just let Robbie deal with it.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if it was an idea to try and get Farrell to leave, because they probably didn't want him there anyway at the stage because he cost too much. I don't know. It's crazy, but you hear people talk about how Farrell has coaches ditched and stuff like that. So we'll go through them. Tim Sheens, he said at the end of 2011 that if the Tigers don't make the finals in 2012, he will step down. It was a handshake deal he made with the club, so obviously there was nothing written down in official copy, anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously the Tigers finished 9th, didn't make the finals, despite starting the year as premiership favourites. And he refused to step down. So the club pulled the trigger on him and said, you're fired. Sheens then took him to court and won a case to get paid out all these remaining years of his contract, which was a few $1 million. So the club couldn't afford to get a top quality coach to replace him with. They didn't have the money, so they had to get a budget coach. And who better than the bloke who coached in England for free, Mick Potter. You get Mick Potter, and all you got to do is offer him $50. He's like, well, that's an upgrade on what I'm paying getting over here. So yeah. And then all that drama went on, and the club eventually just said, look, we can't have both of you anymore because there's just too much drama. So Potter, I'm pretty sure Potter said, I'll walk away. But Farrell didn't try and get him sacked. That was just nonsense. And then the whole thing with Jason Taylor, Jason Taylor was trying to get rid of Farrell from the get-go, and I dare say that was a directive from the top. And that just pretty much hampered everything that Taylor was trying to do.
Yeah, and the thing about that too, like, I don't mind them saying, I don't mind if the club brings in Jason Taylor and says, look, we want to clean out. We want to start from scratch, right? And he says, all right. And they know that it's going to be tough. They know that they've got some players like Robbie Farrell that's, going to be difficult to get rid of. But there was no plan after that. It wasn't like they said, we're going to move, we want Farrell to move on, and we've got this youngster coming through, and we got this. It was like, we'll get rid of Farrell. That's the first step. And then we'll work on the second step. And then when it blew up into a big media storm, it was like, well, nothing to do with us. It's you two. You two deal with it.
Yeah. I know. Look, that was the problem too, is that they went and signed the long-term injured Matt Ballon. I think he had a knee operation done at Manly, and the Tigers signed him when he was still in recovery.
Mm-hmm.
And he only played 3 games in 3 years, and not one of them was an 80-minute game.
Mm-hmm.
I think he may have only just made 80 minutes all up for the Tigers in 3 years.
Yeah.
And that's not joking.
Mm-hmm.
But they brought him over as if to say, right, this is going to be our full-time number 9, which means Farrell will be playing reserve grade. That was pretty much, I dare say, their plan of attack, and wait until Farrell got sick of playing reserves. That was pretty much, I think, what they had in mind. That was their grand plan. That was it.
Yeah.
And so obviously with Ballon being injured pretty much the entire time and no one else to back him up, Farrell had to play. and it was this burden that hung around Taylor's neck the whole time. And he lacked the balls to come out and say, you know what, I think Robbie Farah's perfectly fine. I can work with him. No, I'm going to battle with him the whole time.
Yeah.
And it was just nonsense. Utter childish nonsense.
Yep.
And whether you like Robbie Farah or not, he had every right to put his boots down and say, you know what, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to stay right here because I've got a contract here.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's exactly what he did.
Yep.
He honoured his contract.
Yeah.
And people are now having a go at Josh Alowai for wanting to leave the club. And a lot of these same people hated Robbie Farah for not leaving the club.
Yeah, and like the thing is too, the thing I can't get over is that if it really is a 2-year deal, let's pretend it's a 3-year deal. Even if it's a 4-year deal, I've got to have a meeting over that. I have a meeting and I sit down and say, look, he's a solid forward. He's always there. He's always pretty handy. You know, he's one of ours. You know, who are we going to replace him with? I go through all of these things, and I'd probably say to him, look, how about we give you 3 years and we have the 4th year option as a team. And if it really is over 2 years and they've let it fall apart this quickly, I just can't believe it.
He turned 25 just 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And he's played 90 games for the club already.
Yeah.
90.
There's a reason Manly wants him, you know. He's a solid player.
He's very good, and he's getting better.
Yep.
It's just nuts that they want to ditch him. I don't get this club, and that's the thing, is that it's full of bad decisions, one after the other. That's all they know how to do. Sam McIntyre was the one who's gone to the Titans. Had a very good year this year. Made his debut. Played 12 out of 20 games this year.
Look,
that's how good he was. He forced his way into that team, and then the Tigers didn't even offer him a contract.
Even Eisenhuth, like Penrith picked up him, and I was like, for us, the Panthers, he's a really good signing because we're signing him as like fringe first grader sort of player, you know. The Tigers can't afford to lose him.
No, and look, the thing that Eisenhuth brings is very good defence.
Yeah.
You may not offer a huge amount in attack, but he's a good defender, and for a team that's got habitually horrible defence, you can't lose those players.
No.
And sure enough, they're letting him go. Or they've already let him go.
Do you think they and we laughed about it, like Mansour, it hasn't been finalised, but it feels like it's going to happen.
They debuted 2 wingers this year. They've got Nofaluma on the other wing. Why are they chasing wingers?
Would you be shocked if they got Ferguson?
No, I would not be shocked at all. And you know what? There'll be a bunch of fans going, this is fucking great news.
Yeah.
Like, no.
Yeah.
That's not great news. We don't need wingers. We've got Paul Momirovski coming back from Melbourne. He can play on the wing, and he's a goal kicker. You also debuted 2 other wingers this year. You've got Joey Leilua in the centre. Moses and Bai's going to be playing in the centres. You've got Tommy Talau at the club as well. You're good for 3 quarters. Why are we chasing more? And not just more 3 quarters, but expensive ones. Like, Man's also going to come to the club for 150 grand. Neither's Blake Ferguson. Why are we chasing them? Same as Addo Carr. Sure, it'd be great if they were there, but let's be honest. That's the last of the Tigers' worries. But
and they're not finishing touches on a premiership winner team. Like say the Parramatta Eels get Josh Addo-Carr, or the South Sydney Rabbitohs got Josh Addo-Carr, you'd be like, oh yeah, that's a nice, he's going to make them just that bit more dangerous. West Tigers need basically a whole team. It'd be really nice for the West Tigers to get is a 25-year-old extremely experienced front rower forward,
with plenty of upside and growing to do.
Yeah, who is willing to take a 2-year deal.
Yep.
How frustrating.
And that's the thing. They've lost Harry Grant. They've lost Benji Marshall. Their 2 best attacking players of this year. And brought in no one to replace them with.
Yeah.
And look, obviously Jacob Little he's very good. And he actually got through the season this year. And he's going to have his first full off-season for the first time in God knows how long.
Yeah.
So hopefully that works out. But the problem is, if it doesn't, who's the fullback guy? And then we still haven't addressed who's replacing Benji Marshall. Because Josh Reynolds is on his last year this year. As is Billy Walters, who they signed. They only signed Billy Walters on a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
They're both gone at the end of the year. And then so you've got to find another 5'8" at the end of the season. And this is just, why are we chasing a winger when we need playmakers? I don't get it. We also need forwards. We need a proper forward rotation that's got fucking good defenders for a change. In the middle, on the edges. Why are we chasing wingers? Oh, man. And this is what the club's been besieged by, is this constant, this constant thing where they go, oh, this bloke's off contract, let's go sign him. And they just go get whoever will say yes to them instead of going after who they need.
Exactly. And
they've done this their entire existence. And that's the problem.
Strange.
You keep doing that, you'll never ever get what you want.
Yeah. Like you feel as though their recruitment doesn't start until the season's over, which is like 3.5 months after the vast majority of teams have finished their recruitment.
And that's what they do. They fight over the scraps. They wait until everyone else has spent their money and they go, right, let's see if we can pick ourselves up a bargain. And then they go and spend 3 times too much for that bargain.
Yeah. Well,
is the woe of the West Tigers.
I just look forward to the Jake Friend era at the West Tigers, which is coming up sometime next year.
How old is Jake Friend? We don't want to get him. We don't want to get him too early. 31.
Ooh, he's got another. He's got another 6 or 7 years in him.
I was going to say he's probably got another 2 or 3 years at the Roosters yet. I'll let him. The Roosters will say, right, let's get you here for 300 games, Jake, and then we'll put you on the open market. So that'll be another 2 seasons. So we'll get him when he's 33.
What about if
Premiership winning Origin player?
Oh,
Test player.
Can't go past him. What about you get a call from Canberra? They say,
Accepted.
Yeah, that's how it works with the West Tigers. Listen, we like what we've done at hooker. Josh Hodgson, he's a test player. Well, he used to be 4.5 years ago or something, but
they'd take him.
They'd take him in a second, hey.
The Tigers wouldn't even stop and say, how about that other hooker you got there? They wouldn't ask about that. Yeah, we'll take Josh. We'll take Josh.
Yeah.
He'll work well here.
Send him up the Hume Highway.
Yeah, he'll be fine. Yeah. Would you like us to send a bus down and grab him?
Wait a minute. He still can't walk at the moment? That's fine. We'll deal with that later.
Yeah.
That's all just details.
We've done this before. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Not available until July? That's fine.
That's fine. Speaking of, I need to ring the Sharks about a 5'8". Moylan, we'll take him. They've inquired several times already. Why are they fucking inquired about Matt Moylan?
They keep doing it, eh?
Fuck. Sean Johnson will be next. I'll put them both on there.
To be fair, whenever you see Matt Moylan take the park, he does look like a West Tiger.
The problem the Tigers would have is that he would come to the club and would be perfectly fit the whole time.
Imagine, yeah, that would be the downside. That's pretty rough.
You play every minute. He'll never miss a game.
He starts being called an Iron Man. All of a sudden, 38-year-old Matt Moylan's still running around for the Tigers, and people are like, man, this guy's like Cameron Smith. He's never going to retire.
Yeah, that's where the likeness ends.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Yeah, if I had my way and I was the Tigers, I'd be saying, let's go talk to Tom Starling at the Raiders. Go speak with Blake Brayley at Sharks. If you want to chase some decent quality playmakers who are young, that's who you go for. Those are the top of the tree, those two.
Yeah.
But no, they'll get some old bloke somewhere.
I know Harry Grant he's been locked into going back to the Storm. He's talked about it the whole time. I would have made it impossible for him to go back. I would have said, hey, Harry, we'll give you $800,000 a year and make him go to the Storm and say, I literally cannot come back. And they're going to say, why is that? And he's going to say like $800,000 a year on a 4-5 year deal, whatever,
Yeah.
and make them say, dude, you got to take that.
Yeah, we're not going to match that.
Yeah.
But,
or at the very least, make him say, this is the offer that the West Tigers have put to me to be their franchise player. If I come down to the Storm, I want to be your franchise player, and I want to be make him start demanding from the Storm. And he was there. He was there.
Yep.
Yep. Terrible.
Yeah, speaking of Cameron Smith.
Yes.
Don't know if you saw this or not. Mm-hmm. There was an article in a real estate magazine.
Yeah.
Did you see this?
No.
All right. In a real estate magazine, there's an article which says, NRL great and former Maroons Origin captain Cameron Smith has added fuel to the 2021 rumour mill, putting his hard-earned Storm earnings down on a home in Queensland. Here's a first look inside, and it's all about the house that he's just bought in Queensland.
Yeah.
And then it says, well, the beloved Maroons great this week confirmed that he had played his last game for the Melbourne Storm.
What?
Yeah.
What? When?
I don't know. This is in a real estate article.
Okay.
Hope has sprung among Queenslanders after reports of a secret meeting with the coach of the Gold Coast Titans.
What real estate article was this in? Where was this posted?
I'm yet to find it. Someone took a screenshot of this part of the article.
Okay.
I said, imagine if the biggest rugby league story of the last 20 years has been unearthed by a real estate agent.
That would be pretty funny.
How furious would James Hooper be?
And it's like just a real estate agent just doing really basic follow-ups.
Yeah, like I'm just typing up shit here. Talk about Cameron Smith, just a bit of background as to why he's famous, and here's his house.
Like, just making a call. Yeah, Cameron brought a house up here. Is he looking to retire up here? Oh, he is. Oh, this year. Oh, if he doesn't go to the Titans. Okay. All right, no worries. I thought I'd just better follow up because that's what a fucking journalist does. Thank you very much.
Exactly right. I just found that fascinating.
Yeah. He was on the coverage tonight, which was interesting. It didn't add too much to the coverage that I saw, but it was nice to see him there because, this is a guy that's got. I don't know that there is a rugby league player ever that's had more experience than Cameron Smith. Definitely in first grade there hasn't been, but even when you add his rep career, I don't think there's been too many players that can say they've played as many origins and tests together as well. But it was interesting. It felt a bit retire-ishy.
Yeah.
It felt like I've finished that. And if he has retired and he's literally just stopped playing, that is just the best. That is the ultimate for me. None of this crying, snotting it up, no, none of that. Just I've stopped playing now. It's all good.
Yeah, I would love to see him come out for one more season.
So would I.
And I'd be, as I've said before, I'd be surprised if he doesn't say, I'm going to play for one more year,
mm-hmm.
and then he just plays off the bench or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, or they put him in the halves or something like that. Just have him around the team, occasionally in the 17, that sort of thing. Just to, I suppose, guide Harry Grant around a little bit and show him a little bit of the leadership stuff, because Grant is undoubtedly going to be their next captain and future star and stuff like that. He's their next Cameron Smith, essentially.
Cameron Smith is one of the few players that I feel like could honestly fill that mid-role that once upon a time was called a captain coach. You couldn't have a captain coach as they used to have it these days. The coach does too much. But I think that, as you say, have him on the bench. Some weeks have him in there. Some weeks maybe you don't play him. I could see a thing where he says, look, I'm committing full-time next year, but the following year I would be part-time. And I think he could do that.
Absolutely, he could. And it would be perfectly fine with him in the club.
Yeah.
Because, I don't know, I think the the cherry of getting 450 games.
Oh,
I think it's too close to ignore. He's 20 games away from it.
yeah. It's so close, and it's one of those things. I mean, 400 games was ridiculous. 450.
No one's passing that anytime soon.
No.
Nothing too. He's 214 points away from 3,000 as well.
Yeah. Man, I'm the same. I still think he's the best hooker in the world.
Oh, absolutely. Easily. So I don't know. I think there's just a few cherries there that might coax him to go around one more year.
I hope he does it for the Storm too.
Oh, likewise.
There's something to me.
I'd love nothing more than for him to start parading about his house on the Gold Coast, and even just to rub it in a bit. Just, do an episode of, some real estate show or something like that where he's getting around. He's just got a Gold Coast Titans training signal on that he just bought online.
If he has
just strut around his house going, yeah, this is my new Gold Coast pad.
he has a like a signed Titans jersey on the wall.
Yeah. He's just, and he goes out the back and he's got a barbecue there next to his boats.
Yeah, all of his boats.
And Justin Holbrook's there. He said, another snag? Yeah, sure, Just, that'd be great, mate.
He starts posting pictures on Instagram from the Gold Coast, like saying, preseason starts today.
Yeah, just,
and he's
got
just
a training room with the boys. Up. He's there with Ash Taylor.
That'd be so good.
And then turns up and says, yeah, I'm playing for the Storm this year.
Isn't it weird how, and he's been the perfect example of, the media gets to points with, and it's not just sportsmen, it's in all sorts of walks of life, where they're like, say the words, we want you to say the words. Mm-hmm. Cameron Smith has just been like, I'm good. And that's got them so furiously angry that they've written angry, pouty articles about him not saying the words.
They're frothing at the mouth over him.
Yeah.
You know what? I never used to have much of an opinion about Cameron Smith, the human.
Mm-hmm.
Great player, undoubtable.
Mm.
But I just didn't care much about, getting into who he is as a person, stuff like that.
Mm.
But the more and more James Hooper gets irritated by him, the more and more I love Cameron Smith.
Yeah, it's a good sign for a person's character.
Yeah, and he does it so easily. That's what makes it so great.
Yeah.
Smith's just toying with him. I love the fact that he can toy with the media just as easily as he toys with opposition defences.
There's something within me that I love those moments where somebody says, you have to do something. And you look back at them and you say, I don't have to do fucking anything. and there's nothing that they can say back to you that changes that situation, and it makes them really angry. And that's exactly what Cameron Smith has done. So I love it. I would love for him to say nothing, even going into round one, and then he runs out for the Storm. That would, to me, would be like, oh, this guy's a gangster.
That's all he needs to do.
Yeah.
Just tell the Storm, you know what? I'll sign a 1-year deal. Don't tell anyone. Don't even tell members.
Mm-hmm.
Just leave it up in the air. And they'll just watch me run out round one. And then, just announce it on game day.
Mm-hmm.
An hour before kickoff.
Yeah.
The Melbourne Storm are happy to announce that Cameron Smith has signed a 1-year deal with the club.
Yeah.
And then how he runs.
Cameron must have a big press conference. Cameron Munster's the new captain. All that sort of stuff. It'd be so good. It'd be so good.
That would be phenomenal. Yeah. He's got his book out at the moment, autobiography.
Yeah, you going to buy it?
I'll have a look at it and see if, I don't know. I've got this weird, very egotistical thing I do now when I see a rugby league book.
All right, tell me about it.
I go to the back and see if Rugby League Project's mentioned in it. And if it's not, I go, I'll leave it.
The fucking ego. It's one of the few rugby league books I've ever thought, you know what, I wouldn't mind flicking through that a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of autobiographies, but
yeah,
his would definitely be fascinating.
Yeah, I think the thing with him is, and we've seen some of the talk about the salary cap stuff, there are, because of the way the media handle Smith and the way that they sort of set him up in a lot of circumstances. And then Smith is he does his own thing. And so his perspective is going to be so different. And I think that makes it all very interesting to see what even if what you think he thinks on certain subjects it doesn't make you feel like he is right about a situation. It would be interesting to see what he thought, you know?
Yeah.
Because the Cameron Smith we hear about in the media is very negative. It's a very negative campaign that the media runs against him, and I've never understood it. But I think that, yeah, he'd actually have an interesting book. I might get it for Christmas.
Yeah, and I think the thing that would make it interesting is he's not the sort of person to, shy away from anything.
Mm.
So yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I'm thinking about whether I get it or not.
Yeah. Well, you can check the fucking back of it. And
if I'm not mentioned, then fuck him.
Yeah. I want mentioned. I want my name in there. In Cameron Smith's book.
Because this is the thing, okay? I'm more important than any rugby league player.
Have you signed for Channel 9 and I don't know it?
No, I write for Fox Sports now.
Ah, damn it.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
As, what's his name? I've been saying that he's been pitching my stuff all the time. It was just me.
Oh, yeah.
George Clark. That's my pen name, George Clark.
Yeah. We've only got 3 more rugby league games left this year.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Two semi-finals, Super League semi-finals, and then the grand final, which will be played in Hull. And then it's all over. Then we can do the King of Rugby League awards.
Let's do a quick recap, shall we? Or a quick review. Wigan Hull FC, who you got?
Oh, I'd always go Hull.
Yeah, I'm going Hull.
Okay.
I think Wigan will win, but I want Hull to win. So I'm cheering on Hull.
Okay.
And St. Helens Catalan.
I think Catalan. I think Catalan will be just way too good.
I'm not sure on that one. I think St. Helens will win, but I'm definitely cheering Catalan hard. I mean, Saints haven't won a game since October 23.
There you go.
They lost to Salford and Wigan.
Ah.
Catalan beat Leeds last week.
Part of me wants to see James Graham go out the only way James Graham should go out.
What, losing a grand final?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Runners-up medal.
You see, the thing is, though, Catalan have got an X factor when it comes to grand finals, and that's James Maloney.
Exactly.
He knows how to get there, and he knows how to win them.
Yep.
I mean, he did it at a club that hadn't won a premiership before.
Mm-hmm.
Just rocks up. Don't worry, guys, I've got this. Bam. 2016 Sharks win premiership. Yeah, okay, you know what? I'm done now. I'll go to another club and do it over there.
Mm-hmm. It's weird. He has had very, very good success. I mean, even if you say, the worst club he's maybe been to is Penrith. He was bloody great at Penrith.
Oh, yeah. Unbelievable.
Mm.
Actually, that last year at Penrith was his worst season in first grade, as far as win percentages go, since his last year at the Warriors.
Yeah.
And it's only 2 of 11 seasons where he had less than a 50% success rate.
It's crazy.
The bloke's just a born winner. That's all he does.
Yeah.
So, and he's at
Channel 9 turned his whole career into going, say barbecuing alone again.
Yeah, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
That's all that matters, is the barbecue thing. Because they don't know how to have a sense of humour.
No, they are.
I hear it joking, quick, we need to spam the shit out of that until people get sick of it.
I need that on a loop for the next 15 years.
Yeah, until we find another joke to replace it with, that's our joke.
Yeah.
So I think they're still using it, aren't they?
I would guess that they would be, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't heard another joke on there since.
Nah, I hate it when people spam jokes over and over again, eh?
That certainly wouldn't be us.
That's what she said.
Yeah. Now, one last thing.
Mm-hmm.
horses are shit. Now, let's get into
What shit? Oh yeah, you got into a bit of a tiff over horses.
We've been through this.
Yeah.
You want to talk about horses in the podcast?
I do. I know somebody who has been around horses, like properly been around horses all their life, and I'll bring them on the podcast and ask them about horses. Because
okay, I'm here. Let's go.
You haven't been around horses all your life.
I've been around horses.
But not like a horse person.
Well, no.
Yeah, I want to talk to a horse person.
Why? All they do is go neigh.
I just realised it could be like... No, I said horse. A horse person. No, I want to be around...
So you're off to the seedy part of Penrith.
No, I want to talk to a horse person about...
You're paying.
I think it'd be interesting.
I don't.
Why do you hate horses so much?
Because they don't taste like anything worthwhile eating. That makes them useless.
That's true.
Yeah, that just makes them useless.
Okay. I think there's a reason you hate them, and I'm going to find out one day.
No, that's it.
Okay.
That's it. If you have to try and pass them off as beef to try and eat them, then there's something wrong with it. If horse tasted any good, we'd be eating it already. And it'd be a good animal to have.
I wonder what horse tastes like.
Apparently, according to the French and some of the British in the about a decade ago, it tastes like beef.
Yeah.
I think it was Audi were putting them in their lasagnas.
Yeah, there was some place like that, hey. They had to apologise.
Yeah. Not Audi Australia.
No.
It's something like that. They've got all sorts of different shop names over in England. They all sound similar to our ones. You know, Little, Audi, all the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what they are. But anyway. Central Park. Morrison's.
Yeah. So we're not going to stop during the off-season. We don't have an off-season here. I know a lot of other podcasts, Andrew says this a lot, weakness. They show their weakness over the off-season. They've got no content, as you say, Andrew, all the time. No, he doesn't say that.
That's why they keep asking me to go on their podcast in the off season.
Exactly. Someone just fucking abuse Andrew on Twitter, please. I'm sick of being the only one in the fucking firing line. So we don't have an off season here, so we'll be doing lots of history episodes.
Yeah, we'll finally get around to them after saying we're going to do them all year. We're going to do them all in the off season.
We have I know we teased it in March, but we've got a good episode on Women's Rugby League coming up.
Yeah, that's around the corner. We're going to educate you in the off season.
Yeah, it's going to be good fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that'll be pretty good. Got an awful lot to get through there.
Yeah.
I assume too there'll be a fair bit of play movement and stuff going on in those pretty much three and a half months before the next season starts.
Yeah, well, you know, you think about how many teams are trying to get their final roster sorted out. It's going to be a little bit of a quicker off season for most of them, so we'll see some player movement there, all to the West Tigers, obviously, and it's going to be interesting to see how they all line up next year. Yeah.
Well, Tigers will be most of the same, except all the good players will be gone.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Manly needs some players, you know.
Everyone needs players, just not the Tigers. It's good. We started doing an Origin review and ended up just bitching about the Tigers. So it's not like that's ever happened before.
No, it feels like that only happens every two or three episodes. We end up the last hour is just bagging the Tigers.
Yeah. I'm waiting for someone to say they're sick of it.
Yeah, no one has, hey?
No.
We got a good email that I think we'll save for the next episode because it's an episode. It's a subject we can really chew on pretty well.
Okay.
So yeah, that'll be good fun. It's if you're listening, Liam, we haven't forgotten your email. We're gonna get stuck into that next episode.
Yeah, it's good. All right. Well, people, please get out there and give us a review. We've only had one since the start of October.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, so give us a review, give us a 5-star rating. We'll put it up on the website. We'll read it out on the podcast. We'll make you famous. You'll be up there with great names like manscaped.com.
Exactly.
Actually, not want that.
Exactly. And, if you go to manscaped.com right now, put in the promo code, which is NRL. That's our exclusive code just for anybody that's listening to this. Get yourself the performance package. It has everything. Absolutely everything. Your balls will be just in pristine condition over summer. If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, they're available there too. You might be freezing cold and your balls are sucked up into your torso, but your sack will be smooth because you've used the... It's going to be great.
I was going to say, it'll be smoother than James Hooper's head.
Oh, it'll shine. It'll shine. And you use the ball toner and the ball preserver. It's brilliant. You get the microfiber shorts. It'll make your junk look fantastic. It's really the best. You got to use the right tools for the job, Andrew.
The right tools for the right tool.
Yeah, exactly. It's a precision trim with proper grooming. It requires a precision engineered tool.
Exactly right.
Mm.
Now, you can also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at FergoFreakPod. One day we might actually start using the Instagram page and putting stuff on there.
Yeah.
We're also on LinkedIn, so if you want a job with a podcast, go there and we won't give you one. I don't know why we're on LinkedIn. We just are. Why the hell not? You can also find us on Facebook. Get over there and give us a like. Share all the podcast episodes that come up. Get involved in the chat over there too. That'd be good. We're on YouTube. Same thing. Subscribe, like all the videos. Get involved in the chat. And
go to on Twitter, go to @LeagueFreak. Just say you're a really nice person, or have a nice day. Just something positive, please.
Yeah, something positive and nice to Freaky. He gets a lot of hate mail. Just give him something nice.
Can we go back to the good old days when I just got DM'd thousands of pictures of boobs and stuff? They were the good old days.
So, any blokes listening?
No.
That's what Freaky wants.
No, I don't want moobs.
Slide into his DMs. Ciao. And I can tell you now, he's available.
I feel like this is going to end really badly.
It's okay, I'll end it now. You can also go to our website, FergoonTheFreak.com, and you can go in there and Freaky, they can leave a message for us.
Yeah, go to the contact section and write something in and contact us, and we'll read it out on the podcast.
Absolutely. Easy as that. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Catch us all next time.